The web is the defining technological revolution of our lifetimes. Almost 2 billion of us are now online. And in the 10 years that I've been studying the web and writing about it as a journalist, I've seen it take our world and shake it apart. The web has created unimaginable wealth, yet encouraged millions to work for nothing. It's challenged authority, yet allowed regimes to spy and censor as never before. And it's been blamed for creating a generation of web addicts, yet opened up new realms of knowledge. In this series, I'll be meeting all the pioneers and key players, everybody from Google to Facebook, Twitter to Amazon. The people who've helped bring about this seemingly unstoppable leveling of power, culture, and values that's having such an impact on all of our daily lives.
Well, the web is how mankind communicates nowadays.
It's like the internet has become a brain. It's the smartest brain in the world.
It is an empowering tool that has more potential than any other that human civilization has ever developed.
The world is just going to keep on getting more and more open, and there's going to be more information available about everything.
This is astounding technology, and we should just take a moment to celebrate the power and the reach that it gives us.
And so this is the story of the web. But it's more than that. This is also the story of how the web is remaking our world. A quarter of the planet now uses the web. On any given day in the British Isles, over 35 million of us will log on. The web is where we spend our money, around £1 billion a week. Britain's most active e-shoppers? In Swansea, with Kirkwall and the Orkneys in second place. It's where we fall in love, with 5 million of us using a dating website every month. The web is a revolution.
How much of your life is stored digitally? Your photos, your files, your most intimate conversations. It's all on a hard drive somewhere, and it's probably easy to access. By you, but also by the cloud storage companies you trust. Those companies have a track record of handing over their data to governments. Their first priority is to make profit for their shareholders, not your privacy. Then there's cybercrime. It has become a bigger business than the trade of illicit drugs. Due to the enormous amount of data stored on cloud servers, they are a target that's hard for hackers to resist. It's time to take security and privacy back into our own hands. Made Safe uses decentralization and encryption to ensure that only you can access your files. The Safe network is completely distributed. There is no central point of control or weakness. The software connects unused computing capacity to form a global network that can handle all data and communications. It's not just about storage. It allows you to safely run any app that exists today, while paying you for your contribution. Here's how it works. You create an account without the need to identify yourself and decide how much space you want to dedicate to the network. As the space is used, Safe coins are given as a reward. Safecoin has a market value and can be freely traded, just like Bitcoin. Before you upload a file, it is encrypted on your computer. It is then fragmented into small pieces and spread at random throughout the network. Data is stored with redundancy, and files are autonomously moved by the network as connected computers are turned on and off. Only you have the credentials to make it available again. Your data and your thoughts belong only to you. You decide what to do with them, no one else. Made Safe. Privacy, security, and freedom. For everyone.
Everyone of the core team meditates. When we meet and work together, we always make sure to start the day with a shared meditation session.
Mindfulness is important to Dror Conforti, an Israeli developer hard at work on a new blockchain technology with big ambitions. In Tel Aviv, Dror and his team are building tools intended for the development of decentralized applications. Their flagship project is a very unique social network called Scenario.
What we're trying to do in Scenario is create the best set of tools for the creation of any application or network or protocol in a completely decentralized and distributed way.
Scenario is more than a social network. It's a way of organizing people and information in a decentralized structure that loosely mimics the human brain.
I spent most of my adult life in the academy. My research focused mostly on biomimetic simulations of the brain, trying to replicate and simulate as best as possible neural networks in a way that matches the actual functioning of the brain as much as possible.
Scenario aims to be the social layer behind a more distributed internet. Reputation, identity, community ties, trust, contribution. Scenario's goal is to enable new kinds of distributed applications that build across all of these.
Like in the brain, in such a peer-to-peer network, there can't really be any type of hierarchy in the sense that we're used to right now. Everything happens in a way that's peer-to-peer, right? It's all about cells or agents or edges or nodes on the network communicating with one another, and the insights that we took from the functioning of the brain allowed us to create a sort of a learning mechanism where by following your behavior, but in a way that's localized completely to your node on the network, your node can decide how to prioritize information coming to you and how to decide what types of outputs to generate and how to route them forward depending on the actions that you take. So essentially it's this auxiliary brain that you have in the network.
The structures of the brain help it process an unending flow of input. Scenario is attempting to use a similar structure to support a distributed network of people constantly exchanging information.
Facebook and every social network do something very similar. It's just that they have this centralized server or centralized, again, eye in the sky that knows everything that does this. You certainly can't interface with any other application. You can't export the information to anything. You can't import information. I mean, you're really locked into this one rail that they want to live in and go through. Once you allow this type of freedom to the edges, you can extend the opportunities, expand the internet-based consciousness, and so on.
If they're able to successfully execute on their vision, Scenario could have enormous consequence beyond disrupting Facebook. In today's landscape, people's contributions to the network make the platform itself more popular and valuable, but they aren't rewarded for it. A truly distributed economy, the kind envisioned by blockchain entrepreneurs worldwide, needs a protocol for rewarding user contributions. The success of Scenario or another similar technology could fundamentally change the way we organize ourselves and our information online.
So what we're hoping to do is to let artists create their own space on the network where they upload their music and have full control over it on the Scenario decentralized cloud. So instead of, let's say, the other option, which would be to jump into Spotify or iTunes and purchase it there, right? With them taking 30% or whatever it is they're taking now, he has a way to directly compensate the artist. So that's really the end game of this, right? To create a sort of a decentralized content creator space where they have, where they really become their own entity in the network instead of being just an employee. With these technologies, I think we're going to see an incredible change in the way that we operate, even day to day, right? I mean, when you think about it just flatly, or just look at the surface level, and you look at Bitcoin and you say, okay, cool, so I have a bank in my pocket, right? But when you look at all of the possibilities that the decentralization revolution brings with it, we're going to see a major shift. I mean, it's going to be much greater, I think, than the shift from the pre-internet times to today.
This summer, prepare for the next revolution in file sharing. Mega Upload is back. Bigger, better, faster, stronger, safer. And now combined with BitCash, enabling microtransactions with Bitcoin. From the legendary Kim.com. Mega Upload 2.0 and BitCash. Only on Bank to the Future.
Hi, it's Max Kaiser. I'm here with Simon Dixon and Kim.com. Kim.com has a fantastic project that is about to hit the global markets. Kim, what's the elevator pitch? Give us the short and skinny on this.
All right, so I know how to build high traffic websites. I've built multiple websites that made it into the Excel top 100, and I'm going to create another one, and it's called, the short name is MU2. And on top of it, I'm creating a micropayment solution based on Bitcoin, utilizing the blockchain for file transactions, file transfers, linking file transfers to Bitcoin transactions. And it's called BitCash, and it will be a combination of MU2 and BitCash that is going to make this an incredible new innovation.
Yeah, you've been talking to me about this for almost a year now, and then at 4 a.m. at a hotel, I was out there, searching the web, and we started chatting, and funding requirements were discussed, and I immediately thought, of course, of Simon Dixon and Bank to the Future, that's got the premier global funding platform, and perfect for something like this. Simon Dixon, happy to make the introduction with you two guys. This looks like it's going to be a complete blockbuster.
Well, we hope so, yeah, thanks for doing the intro, Max. So I've got a few questions for Kim. Obviously, all the investor details and the legal details, we'll leave that for the copy on the investor page for accredited investors. But can you give a quick overview of, so we've got services like Dropbox now, which are very well established. We've got Google Drive, and we've got different file storing and sharing services. What's the new problem, I guess, the problem that you're solving for customers that hasn't already been solved, and what's new that you're bringing to market with MU2 and Bitcash?
Okay. So very simply, we are going to be the most private cloud solution on the market. We will not know who the users are, will not know their upload IPs, and we will not know the contents of their files. There's no other service that offers that to you. In combination with Bitcash, every file transfer can now be monetized. There is a way with microtransactions through Bitcash to monetize every single file transfer. And per user, it's really going to be minute. There will not be a lot of money involved, but because of the masses that we are going to move and the millions to billions of file transfers that we will have every day that are all linked to microtransactions, there will be a pool of wealth that can be distributed to content creators, to people that use MU2. So I'm really excited about this new solution.
So, gentlemen, when you talk about Bitcoin, of course, very quickly you get into what's called the block size debate, which has been raging now for a year or so. And this has come up in the discussion of Bitcash. Can either one of you gentlemen talk on this a little bit? What is the block size debate, and how does this address the block size debate?
Yeah, so I'll set that up. So at the moment, Bitcoin's, people that know what they're talking about say that Bitcoin can only do about 7 transactions per second. So the core developers are now implementing changes to try and make that, patch that up so it can be done more. And also companies are creating solutions like we've got Blockstream's Lightning Network. What we'd be interested in is what Bitcash is doing, because how we understand it is that this is a very specific problem, that you want to attach a Bitcoin transaction to every single file transfer. The last venture you did with file sharing attracted about 60 million users, and you're saying that there's going to be billions of whatever the numbers are. Kim, can you explain why you need this solution and what kind of numbers you were doing before and where you're trying to take this?
Yeah, actually, Mega Upload in its history had over 1 billion users and more than 50 million users a day. So a significant amount of traffic. And MU2 is going to be in the same ballpark. I'm convinced that we will build something here that has mass appeal. And I've always built websites that had mass appeal and were in the top 100 of all websites. So the problem with the blockchain is it's not really scalable. Once you talk about millions and millions of transactions linked to file transfers, you run into the limitations of the blockchain. So we're taking a part of the work that we're doing with Bitcash off the chain and doing all these microtransactions for users, and then reintroducing the Bitcoin to the blockchain when the user wants to transfer something out. In addition to that, I believe that Bitcash will be utilized by all kinds of service providers that have, content that they want to charge microtransactions for. This might save the publishing industry, the online publishers, the news sites that right now are struggling to make any money at all. And I believe that, millions of users are going to be happy about a service like this. The cost per user will be absolutely minimal, nothing like you have ever seen. But because of the pool of users and the massive amount of transactions, there will be a wealth of income to be shared with content creators and publishers.
All right, so Kim.com, if I'm not mistaken, looking back, Mega Upload 1 was getting like 4% of global internet traffic. If you can recapture those types of numbers, we're talking, can this scale to that ability using the Bitcoin, you guys? If it can, we're talking about a complete paradigm shift. What do you think?
Well, now even better than ever. There's really no limit to this new project. 7 years of knowledge are going into this running Mega Upload, and then another 7 years that I had to, think about new ways of doing it and doing it way better and more secure than anything I've ever done. So I'm really proud about this. I've evolved quite a bit as an innovator, and I've created these new solutions that are going to be better than anything I've ever done. So my expectations are very high.
All right, well, all the nitty-gritty can be accessed through the accredited investor link on Bank to the Future. I think we've covered kind of the points here. Is there anything else you want to just touch on before we say goodbye?
Yeah, my final question and final point is, you've obviously set this up whereby you're the company evangelist, but also, in your history, you've built companies that have gone on to work without you. So, have you started to put together a team? And is the goal that you're just initially building the tech and then you're going to be putting together a bigger team? And obviously you've got a history of being able to do that. Could you just share a little bit of insights around behind this? Because you're going to be the evangelist, and then what happens next?
Well, I'm a multitasker, and I always enjoy the founding stage of creating new technologies, but then I'm very good at finding talented people that keep carrying it forward, keep developing it, and I will still be available to advise and help. I want to build this thing, and I want to make it big. And until I've done that, I will not be satisfied. And once it's really big and I have new ideas, there will be people to continue the growth path. And you can expect some brilliant people working on this.
All right, fair enough. Well, Simon Dixon from Bank to the Future, Kim Dotcom from Mega Upload 2, Bitcash. I think we've covered the main points. If you want to dig in deeper, go to banktothefuture.com. There's a accredited investor page, link into that. You get all the salient details. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be Bitcoin huge.
Huge.
It's going to be huge.
Oh my God.
Mega huge.
So big.
Mega.
I mean, it's going to be like a solar eclipse. It's going to eclipse the internet. The scaling issues are all gone. It's going to be fantastically big.
Mega.
Mega.
Mega Upload 2.0 and Bitcash. Only on Bank to the Future.